so delighted to have the talent attraction team from the IFC. I'm going to turn this over and delighted to introduce you to our moderator, Nada Tamim, who is a financial analyst at Convoy in Seattle. So it is 4 in the morning for her right now. She's originally from Egypt. She's an AUC alum. And for those of you who may be logging in right now, you'll optimize your experience if you launch with Zoom. You do have that option. So be sure to do so as opposed to just streaming it because that is less secure. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Nada to kick off and introduce the team. And there's a presentation that they'll be sharing with you.
Hello, everyone. I'm honored to introduce you to Ellen Mashiri. She is the Human Resources Business Partner at the International Finance Corporation, IFC, in Washington, D.C. She will be giving a presentation for us today and answering some of our questions along with her team. Ellen is a talent attraction officer with the IFC. She's based in Washington, D.C. As I said, she's a Zimbabwean national, and she joined the IFC in 2003 in Johannesburg, South Africa. She worked there as a part of their client service team covering the sub-Saharan Africa till she moved to DC in 2016. Hello, Ellen.
Hi, Nada, and thank you for that welcome. So good morning, good afternoon, and I'm sure good evening in some parts. As Nada said, my name is Ellen Mashiri. I'm a talent attraction officer based here in Washington. And on the line with me is the full team. So I'm going to start with our MENA team. We have our MENA team on the line, and they're based in Cairo. And then I have part of the talent attraction team also connected. So this is really so that we ensure that your experience is one way. We not only just answering your questions, but you get to know us and connect with us, you know, virtually in the virtual world we're operating in. So I'm going to ask Nala to introduce herself, then Viola, then Reni, then Shilpa and Nirupa, in that order, please. And then we can get started.
Thank you, Ellen, so much, and thank you, Nada, for the introductions. So my name is Nahla Saeed. I'm the HR business partner covering Middle East and North Africa region. I'm based in Cairo, and I've been with IFC for the past almost 16 years. So very happy to be part of this experience.
Hello, everyone. My name is Viola Kamel. I am the HR analyst covering MENA region. I have joined the IFC last year in October. And glad to join this event. Thanks for this opportunity.
Hello, everyone. My name is Reni Odabi. I am part of the talent acquisition team. I'm one of the talent attraction specialists. I am based in Washington, D.C., and I have been a part of this team since March of this year.
Hello, everyone. My name is Shilpa. I am part of the recruitment services team. I am based out of India, Chennai. And I've been part of IFC since September, but I've been part of the World Bank Group from 2014 for almost 4 years. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Nirupa, and I joined IFC in the month of September again, and same as Shilpa. So I'm a part of the recruitment services team based out of India. Thank you.
All right, thank you, team. So we're going to spend the next few minutes giving you, firstly, I'm going to give you an overview of IFC. And then after that, Viola will give you the recruitment process at IFC. Then we'll get into questions and answers, questions posed by Nada for the panel, and then we'll go into questions and answers from the participants. So I'm going to share my screen, and you can let me know when you can see it. Okay, everyone can see that?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
perfect.
Yes, Ellen.
So the IFC has set 2 goals, twin goals, which are to end extreme poverty and boost shared prosperity by year 2030. Currently, there are about 734 million people, and of course, the number continues to increase in the COVID-19 environment we're operating in. who operate under extreme poverty. And what that means is they earn less than $1.90 per day. And that's about 1 in 10 people. So as the numbers continue to increase, we'll see various reports that show and indicate this increased poverty. So by year 2030, IFC's goal is to ensure that we are at less than 3% of poverty across the globe. We are IFC, and IFC is the private sector arm of the World Bank. So most people, when you speak of the World Bank, you speak of IBRD, but actually the World Bank group consists of 5 arms. We have IBRD, which is the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, and offers loans to middle income and credit-worthy low income country governments. Then we have the IDA, which provides interest-free loans and grants to governments of poorest countries. Then we have MIGA, which guarantees foreign direct investments, non-commercial risks. And then we have ICSID, which is the conciliation and arbitration of investment disputes. Then, of course, we have IFC. And what IFC does is provide solutions in private sector development. And it is the largest private sector development organization in the world. How do we provide solutions to global challenges? We do this in 3 ways, through investment, advisory, and mobilization. And in investment, we provide loans, equity, trade finance, through blended finance. And advisory, what we provide is firm level advice, tailored market insights, structure public-private partnerships, improve ESG standards. And then with mobilization, what we do is provide and manage private equity funds and invest in third-party capital. Long-term commitments in FY20. Now, FY20, our fiscal year starts in June of each year to July of each year to June of each year, of the following year. So these are the commitments we had from July 2019 to June 2020. And as you can see, top of that in industries is financial markets, infrastructure, funds. And if you look at it by region, Latin American, Caribbean, East Asia, Pacific, etc. Now, 19% of our commitments are in fragile and conflict-affected states. And those are the countries like Liberia in Africa, South Sudan, Vietnam, etc. And 32% of our commitments are currently in sub-Saharan Africa. And 27% of those are climate-related. So you may ask the question, why work with us? Why work with IFC? What do we offer? What's our employee value proposition? And we have impactful work. We offer a very multicultural workplace. We offer global opportunities. And if we talk about impactful work, this is where I was saying initially about reducing extreme poverty in the world. Now, the graph there will show you that 1981, we were at above 40% of poverty in the world. And it started to reduce over the years. And indeed, it is our hope that in spite of COVID-19, by 2030, this will be below 5%. In terms of multicultural environment, we have over 4,000 employees across the globe. We have 4 generations. And I think if you look at the team online, this speaks to the generations, the diversity. We have 150 nationalities, and there are over 120 languages spoken within IFC. Now, keep in mind, I'm just talking about IFC here. If we look at this at World Bank group levels, these numbers increase. I'm not sure would increase to 5 generations, but certainly, in terms of nationalities, I'm sure we touch every part of the world. And if we talk about languages, I often like to talk about how, you cannot be speaking your language and assume nobody hears you at IFC, because there's always going to be someone who understands the language you're using. And then our global opportunities, because of our global presence, we're in over 100 country offices around the world. We have encouraged rotations, assignments of a minimum duration of 4 years. So you can start working in Cairo and end up in Brazil. You know, we offer rotations across the globe, and we have strategic placements that by year 2030, 65% of our staff should be in our field offices. Currently, we have a 55%, 45% split where 55% of our staff is based here in Washington and 45% in our field offices. And by year 2030, we should have 35% in HQ and 65% in the field. And this map is really to show you our global presence. When we talk about our global footprint, you know, I love this map because it really shows the impact we have across the globe. And what we have is what we call a hub structure, where in places, and I'll use Africa, for example. So first of all, we're not always co-located with the World Bank, and in some countries we are both there, but in different locations. So South Africa is an example where we have IBRD in Pretoria and IFC in Johannesburg. That said, we take a hub structure where we'll have the bigger office that covers a specific region. So Johannesburg covers the Southern Africa. So as you can see, there's Harare there, there's Antananarivo, there's Lusaka. These locations are managed and run from Johannesburg. The bigger team sits in Johannesburg. Same is true with Nairobi. And interestingly, Nairobi, IFC and IBRD are in the same building, and we cover Eastern Africa from Nairobi. So this gives you a view of where we are in terms of presence and the numbers we're talking about in terms of our 55-45% split. So I'll hand over to Viola, who's going to give you a recruitment overview, and then we can move on to the next part. Viola.
Thanks, Ellen, for this great introduction. I would like to mention that in IFC, we see our people as our core competitive advantage. And we aim to strengthen this by hiring a diverse talent. As Ellen mentioned, we have around 100 offices, and there are multiple ways to find careers in IFC. The first is through two programs, the summer internship program and the YPP program, Young Professional Program. And there are also short-term opportunities in IFC. We will talk on this in the coming slide. And finally, the staff vacancies. For now, we will start with the summer internship program. Every year, IFC hire interns for a period between 4 to 10 weeks, between May and September, to work on discrete projects in Washington, D.C. The application period is from 1st of December to January 15. We normally receive about 1,500 applications each year, from which 30 to 4 candidates are shortlisted. What are the criteria to be eligible for this program? Candidates must be in the first or second to last year of their MBA or similar graduate program. They must have work experience between 3 to 6 years in finance, which might also include investment banking, portfolio management, credit analysis, commercial banking. The second program is the Young Professional Program. This year, IFC and the World Bank have merged the respective YPP program into one World Bank Young Professional Program. The duration of this program is for 5 years. We have between 50 to 60 positions available per year for this program. Applications are normally received from June 1st to June 30 for all profiles, but it is reopened again from August 17 to September 21 for IFC and mega profiles only. All the young professionals start the program as one cohort in Washington, D.C., where they are engaged in intensive training on the fundamentals of leadership and operation of the World Bank institution. They also do some kind of mandatory rotation. One rotation in their home institution, then additional rotation in other institution. After graduating from the development program that take 2 years nearly, they complete the remaining 3 years of their contract in a final post at the World Bank, IFC, or MEGA. It can be within their hiring unit or in other field offices. The eligibility criteria for this program, the candidate must have maximum 32 years, while his age or her age must be 32 when applying to this vacancy. They should hold a master or PhD degree and at least 4 years of experience in the specific field the business needs. Moving to the short-term business opportunities. Here we have two kinds of short-term opportunities. The first one is a short-term contract. It is with a duration between 90 to 150 days. And the purpose of this appointment is to fulfill short-term business need. For example, if IFC staff went on a leave without pay or maternity leave and paternity leave, and we need to find a replacement for them, we can use the short-term contract. The other contract is the ET contract, extended term contract. It is for a minimum duration of 12 months, renewable for additional 12 months. So the maximum life duration is for 2 years. And the purpose of this appointment is to fill medium-term business needs. And finally, the staff vacancies. This is for term appointment with the IFC. During the next year, we have about 250 new vacancies. The majority of them are targeting GE level and GF level. GE level is the level of analyst, those who are providing analytic research and other professional support to senior professionals. And they must have at least 2 years of professional experience in addition to master's degree. The grade F is split into 2 split grades. The first split grade, which is associate officer, it requires a master's degree and 7 years of experience. The other split grade, which is F2, is the level of officer, and it requires master's degree and 10 years of experience. And those vacancies are for location in HQ or in the field office, which are more than 100 offices around the world. So moving now to Ellen, and she will inform you how you can get in touch with us and find our opportunities.
Thank you, Viola. So in terms of next steps, you might ask, what do I do if I'm interested in IFC? So we encourage you to ask a recruiter. We, the recruiters here online, the whole team here, you can connect with us via LinkedIn. You have the opportunity to ask us questions today, and then sign up for job alerts. If you go to our careers page, there's you have the opportunity to set up for job alerts. That way you're not getting every job that's posted. You filter it based on your interest, based on your level. That way, when we have opportunities available, you are alerted. You follow us on LinkedIn. IFC is very active on LinkedIn, and the business industries, whether I'm talking about public-private partnerships, infrastructure, etc., have their own page. So follow us based on your interests. Follow those different industries. And build connections on LinkedIn. We just heard that Nada went to American University of Cairo. So she could go on IFC page, search for people within IFC who also studied at AUC and connect with them. Read our reviews on Glassdoor, find out what our staff are saying, those who are current and past staff. Watch a video on a project. We have a YouTube channel where different teams within IFC in the different regions post their projects, and you can watch the videos, learn about the work we do, and also listen to podcasts. If you go to Climate Biz, You can listen to podcasts on different areas of the business. Take a training, learn about IFC. And what this really does is prepare you for an eventual interview. So, you know, you apply once, you apply a second time, thrice, you don't get invited. You keep learning about IFC. Ensure that if eventually you are invited for an interview, you know as much as possible about the organization. And of course, there's no better way to impress the interview panel than to know about the organization you're applying into. And here's the page for IFC. You can see here, I used University of Toronto, and that's because online we have people from everywhere. But if you just go to people on the IFC page, search for university you studied, it will show you how many people are at IFC, and you can connect with them, introduce yourself. And so besides connecting with us, recruiters, you have an opportunity to connect with alumni within the organization. Okay, Nada, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ellen, for the overview and for the team. I encourage everyone to post the questions in the Q&A section. We're having the team answering this in real time. You can also see other people's question in case it is relevant to you. And for you, Ellen, so I wanted to ask you about the process of applying for the positions at the IFC. How students and recent, like you told us that they can apply through the IFC, but what should they keep in mind while applying?
Okay, I'm going to invite Rennie to respond to that. That way, you know, you hear from all of us, not just some of us.
Sure.
Thank you, Ellen. So in terms of applying for roles, all of our positions are posted on our main careers website. So if you go onto the IFC website, even if you just Google IFC careers, for instance, you'll be directed to our IFC careers page. And on this page, you'll find all of our staff positions in our various locations across our different technical streams, as well as our extended term consultancies that Viola mentioned. In addition to that, you will also find information regarding our program. So our summer internship and our young professionals program, and I have posted the links for both of those in the Q&A as well. Now, Ellen did mention the importance of connecting with us on LinkedIn. One of the reasons being that our short-term consultancy positions are typically posted on LinkedIn. So we encourage not only do you interact with us on LinkedIn, but also interact with the IFC corporate page, as you will find our short-term consultancies posted here as well.
Thank you. And if you are advising a student or a recent graduate about applying for a position at the IFC, what examples can you give of memorable applicants, either good or bad?
Nala, you want to take that? And I invite Nala, I think you heard that she's been with IFC many years. She and I joined just about the same time. So in terms of stories, I think we could write a book. So I'll let her take this one.
Thank you. So, so can you repeat the last part of the question, please?
I'm asking if, like, you can remember a good applicant or a memorable bad applicant, something that the applicants should or shouldn't do.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, as Ellen said, I mean, we go a long way with IFC and especially in HR. So good applicants. So our good applicants, usually they have clear CVs, very well written, grammatical. There are no grammatical mistakes. The application has a cover letter that is short and sweet and to the point, and not really like 3-4 pages as a cover page to get to know the applicant. The other part is also knowing IFC and how their skills really match the position that they're looking for. This is really critical, and it's really important as well. As Ellen said, we have a lot of resources that are available online for everyone to check what we are doing, the different projects that we're working on. So it's very, really important that staff, I mean, for candidates to look at that prior to coming to an interview as well.
That's a great, Nala. And Ellen mentioned that you have been with the IFC for a long while now, and you have a lot of stories. Do you have a specific story about a candidate that was exceptionally good or exceptionally bad in that sense for students to like learn from?
So yeah, as I said, I mean, maybe Ellen, you can help me out. I cannot remember something in specific right now, but it's really coming to the interview prepared. I guess this is the key. Okay, so this is really the key. I have actually one of the candidates that came recently. They were extremely prepared to the interview. That really impressed all the panelists. In other cases, not necessarily the same. And one of the maybe one of the bad examples that I had with one of the candidates is that not knowing IFC at all, and then they asked us actually during the interview, so what do you do? And this was I guess surprising for of course the panel members. Ellen, maybe you also can share some of your experience.
Thanks, Nada. So in terms of stories, you know, we have, and I think Shilpa and Nirupa, who are also with the recruitment team, will have different stories, even in the short time, including Renee, that they've been here. So I can tell you, for example, that one time we had a tailor apply for a job, an investment officer job. So our platform shows your current position. So the minute you see tailor, somebody who makes clothes, you know, you're curious, oh, what do they have on their resume that made them apply? So you're going to open it because you want to see. And of course, this person had been a tailor in different locations, and it makes you wonder, were they really expecting us to spend time on the resume when it's for an investment officer and the tailor? And if you just look at the description of IFC, you know, the nature of our business, we don't have opportunities for tailors. So as much as I would like to learn something from them to make myself look good, I think just reading the summary of the nature of our business immediately says we don't have anything. That said, we also see candidates, and I like to remind candidates that we often don't remember names. Yeah. You know, we don't remember names of applicants, but we remember resumes. And there's nothing worse than opening a position and you recognize the resume. You know, you're long listing for a role and you say, but I've seen this before, which shows you that candidates are not taking the time to change their resume to match the opportunity that they're applying for. They're simply uploading, you know. Yeah. Not taking time to say, okay, just based on the requirements of this role, how can I adjust my resume to make it more attractive? So yeah. We don't remember names, but there are instances, and I think Nala may remember this because this was from an old system we had called Job World. There was a candidate we saw in every job. In fact, the minute the job was posted, within an hour, 2 hours, and I'm not sure where he was in the world, but we knew his resume would be there all the time. So with him, we remembered the name, not the resume.
Yeah, very persistent.
Exactly.
It's a very important point that you stressed on customizing the resumes to match the job that the people are applying for and show the skills that exact job needs. This is definitely very important, and this leads me to my my following question, which how can someone really shine through their application? What grabs your eye on a resume, for example, or in the cover letter?
Nirupa, Shilpa, do you want to take that?
So I think I'll take that up. Yeah. So thank you for the question, Nada. So, you know, from our experience, what really shines is that when we look at a resume, the first thing that we would want to see in a resume is the relevant years of or relevant experience that the candidate has mentioned, you know. So I just wanted to share one more thing because in the previous question you asked, you know, Did you have any stories, about any exceptional candidates? So I was recently going through resumes, and I found this one particular candidate whose resume was 8 pages long.
Wow.
And yeah, so it literally took me some minutes to go through the resume, because he was a very, very highly experienced candidate. But then, resume to see the relevant experience that the candidate, possessed. So what we really look for, when candidates edit their resume or, start applying, is to rework on the resume, mention the strong points, mention your skills that are aligned to the job requirements, mention that on the resume, mention that in your statement of interest. So that's the first thing, that catches our eye. So I think my colleagues also want to add in.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
And the most popular question of the year: how has the COVID-19 impacted the work at the IFC?
Viola, Nala, you want me to take that, or you want to take that?
Yeah, maybe I can start, and then also you can chime in. So it has not really changed much, I have to say, for IFC. We have been still recruiting. The only difference that we had during COVID is that we were virtually recruiting staff. So that would mean that if I have a position in Cairo and I have selected a candidate in Paris, for example, we ask them to stay where they are. We hire them where they are based, just until the COVID situation improves in Cairo, for example. So recruitment has been going on quite actually a lot during the COVID. Maybe Ellen also and Viola can add.
Nothing to add more than Nahla has mentioned, but we coordinate and work with different teams to ensure that the new hires are well settled if they are telecommuting outside their duty station. For example, we ensure that the finance team are aware that there is a person there, so they don't miss the payroll. We coordinate with the IT team to make the necessary IT arrangement. We check if there is, in their current location, they need a visa assistance. So we coordinate with the visa team to help them with their like a legal staying in the country.
That's great. Also,
Can I add to that, Nada? I thought my team would have additions to that. So, one of the things about operating in COVID-19 environment, and I've said this in previous events, is that we all have a real opportunity in terms of our work opportunities. So someone being hired and working from home without having to travel to a new location means that you have time to transition into the role and learn about the organization without pressure to show up for a project, because the expectation typically in the normal world is that you hit the ground running when you start a new job, right? But here, what you don't have is the FaceTime in person of your colleagues. But the virtual world has meant that we're able to have virtual coffees, we're having virtual happy hours. So it really affords each one of us to learn more about the organization, about each other, ask questions, and just spend time learning. So in as much as we can talk about podcasts and YouTube channels, this is the time to make use of them. Make use of them to learn about organizations. And we have set up with different teams, like Viola said, we have an onboarding team where each month they're conducting virtual induction over 2 weeks, and they have experts from the different business areas coming to talk about IFC, what we do, whether it's the legal team, whether it's the finance team, and including our current acting MD, EVP, she joins the induction herself and presents on what she does, what the expectation of new staff is. So, the team can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think we're working twice as hard, just not moving as much as we would like to. We're stuck in different locations, right?
That's great. It's a tough time for everyone, and definitely the IFC role to the world is like really important, especially during these tough times. And it is great that you are able to recruit and perform your jobs perfectly. It is a hard time, definitely. I would like we talked about the years of experience and the educational background in terms of graduate degrees needed to join the IFC. I also wanted to ask about what are the skills, like the personal skills in the candidates that you are looking for.
So I will start off and then my colleagues feel free to jump in at any point in time. So in terms of the years of experience and educational qualifications, what you'll find is majority of our positions require a graduate degree. Even though we may have some consultancies or positions that do require a bachelor's degree, at a certain point and a certain level, you will find that a graduate degree is required in order to progress through the organization. Additionally, in terms of our years of experience, that also correlates with the grade levels. So for instance, if we're looking at a GF, which is an associate officer, for instance, we would be looking for a minimum of 6 years of experience. And one thing I want to point out to all of those listening is on the job description, do pay attention to that. Our job descriptions are lengthy, but there's a reason for the length of our job descriptions. All the information required regarding the positions is posted there. Our job descriptions will tell you about the team, the potential project you will be working on, in addition to the duties and responsibilities, and then the selection criteria, which talks about the minimum years of experience, the type of educational background required, addition to other skills such as analytical skills, communication skills, which generally apply across all of our positions. So I would say, depending on the grade level, you will find that different years of experience do apply. But one trend that you will find is most of our roles do require a graduate degree of some sort. You may find some positions that require only a bachelor's degree, but those are far and few between, not the norm.
Thank you, Rennie. So go ahead.
If I could add, Nada, in terms of our values, you asked about personalities. You know, we have 5 main values, and those are excellence, teamwork, integrity, diversity. The expectation is that you are open to working in a diverse environment, you know, a respectful environment, and commitment to the mission of the organization. Whether you're working in legal, HR, or a part of the investment team, these are characteristics that are expected of each one of us.
Yeah. These are great values to have. And definitely this is the reason behind the great team working in the IFC. I have questions flowing in the Q&A section. I'll ask out of them. So we have Ahmed Abeid asking, how is working for the IFC different from working for other banks/funds? What are some of the unique challenges?
You know, I'm not sure any one of us could speak to the difference in working for other funds or other organizations. And I stand corrected here with my colleagues in case anyone has worked with other organizations or funds. But certainly, having been in corporate South Africa before I joined IFC, I can tell you that one of the things I noticed when people first join IFC, one of the challenges, and it's not a challenge, it's something you get used to over time, it's the diversity of the environment. You know, if you're not somebody who's coming from such a diverse environment, it can be overwhelming because it is diverse. In small teams, even in big teams, it's worse. So I see some people initially not struggle, but take time to transition into this environment and the way we work. It's an intense environment, and what I mean by that, it's high performing environment, you're always on the go. You know, no 2 days are the same. And if you're somebody who's very structured, the type A personality who keeps a spreadsheet that says at 8 I should be having my coffee, etc., then that too can initially present a challenge. But I haven't come across anyone who's failed dismally. What I see is how people take time to transition. So it's more a case of how quickly people adjust to this environment more than anything else.
Okay.
And I'm going to chime in just a bit on what Ellen said. I think one of the things to note is IFC is the largest DFI. So you'll find that we do a lot of similar work to the other development institutions, but we are the largest out of all of them. And we also are very diversified in terms of the type of projects and sectors that we work on. So it's not just utilities, it's not just real estate. You know, you will find positions across a variety of sectors. You will find that we're also very agile in terms of what our priorities are. So if you look at COVID-19 as an example,
yeah,
you will find that, and this information is available publicly as well. If you just Google IFC and COVID-19, you will find that we have a whole page dedicated to the projects that we have done in COVID-19. And that doesn't mean that we have stopped our other projects. It's just that we are agile enough in order to change our focus, adapt really quickly because of the diversity of our teams, the size of our teams, the different locations, and the different sectors that we work in. So I think honestly, that is probably one of IFC's largest seller points, but also one of our biggest challenges in the fact of how big and diverse we are.
Thank you, Renee and Ellen, for answering this. Another question from Tuib Arwona. He's asking, or he/she are asking, are architects typically needed by the IFC? What certifications might be needed that relate to what the IFC does?
Sorry, I didn't get what expected?
Are architects typically needed in the IFC, and what certifications might be needed to relate to what the IFC does?
So, unless anyone in my team wants to take this, I would say yes. You know, yes, because we have a facilities team. Yes, because we have an infrastructure team, and these are places where an architecture is, I'm not going to say required, but could be required for the nature of the business we do. So we don't take any skills for granted, because really, and Renee can speak to this too, that we source various skills for different teams. Last week, we were working on a global energy manager, right? Could that be somebody who's had that sort of experience? Yes, but they would need to have combined it with something else, right? So you can't exclude one area versus another. It really depends on the job description, the expectations of the role, and then you can see how that fits into the profile. So the profile fits into the job more than the other way around. But we don't hire as architects as a standalone, but as part of a role, if that makes sense.
I can add one thing, Ellen, because, you know, in IFC, we have our infrastructure sectors. So yes, we have hired before some candidates with architecture background, but in their CVs, they have at least like graduate certificate related to finance and a master's of business administration. So the understanding of finance and investment and business administration is really needed to take this route.
Absolutely. And just rounding up on what Ellen and Viola said, I think this is a great example of matching your profile to the job description. So if you're looking for a standard architect role on the IFC website, you won't find that. What you may find is an urban developer, because that is more relevant to the type of work that we do. So I think one has to be very flexible in terms of identifying how exactly can the skills that I bring as an architect become applicable to the work that IFC does. And so being able to, again, look at that job description, really identify, okay, this is the type of project that this person is expected to work on. These are the type of skills that they're looking for. How do I fit into that role as an architect? Are there some skills that I have? Are there skills I don't have that I could develop to become a better fit for this role? And I think that really applies not just to architects, but really all of our positions. Again, you're not going to find a standard banking role either. The titles and the types of roles that we hire for may not be the same as other organizations, but that doesn't mean that your skill set is not applicable. It's finding a way to merge your skill set into the type of profiles and backgrounds that IFC looks for.
Yeah.
Yes. So we are having more questions flowing through the Q&A. I'm sure the team can keep answering these. Because we are coming towards our end of time, I would like to finish with a question about if each one in the team can say something about this, on why would you recommend pursuing a career at IFC?
Nirupa?
Yes, so IFC has not only IFC, IFC is a part of World Bank Group. So, IFC has a lot of, roles, a lot of niche roles as well, because we have a lot of numerous projects going across the globe. And, you get to see a lot of opportunities. So, yeah, so sorry,
Great. Thank
Ellen.
you. Thank you, Nirupa. Anyone else want to jump in before I respond?
Yes. Sorry, could you just repeat the question, Nada, just so that I'm clear on what exactly the question was?
What would you recommend pursuing a career at IFC?
Okay, thank you. Viola, please go ahead.
I can respond. For me, it's not like your career is not related to specific country. You can take your career global to the world. For example, if you are in Egypt and you found another opportunity in the United States and your skills are matching this job, you can take your career worldwide. Second thing is that IFC is a very dynamic environment. So every time they are trying to seek the new technologies, that new tools that are available in the market and apply it to our institution. So every time you will feel that you are upgrading your skills, you are coping with the market. So you are not stepping as you are, but you are progressing. You are moving forward with your qualifications and skills. Over to you, Monique.
Thank you, Viola. So I think for me, one of the benefits of working for IFC is diversity. And when I say diversity, I speak not just about the ethnic backgrounds, but even diversity in terms of educational background, diversity in terms of professional experience as well. I think you will find yourself with colleagues who have worked in various locations. One thing that I personally, and I emphasize on personally, is even just something like diversity of age, for instance. I am the youngest on my team, and I have been not only on this team, but when I worked at the World Bank as well. And for me, this gives me an opportunity to work with colleagues who have been in roles for 5 years, work with colleagues who have been in roles for 20 years. They are able to share their feedback, their experiences and whatnot. And I'm also able to share my ideas based off of what I bring to the table. And I think that brings for honest and interesting conversations. It brings forth a diversity of mindsets as well. And I think that really is what helps IFC to progress and be so strong in the work that we do. We also have, over how many countries do we work in? I mean, we work with our colleagues in various countries. For instance, Viola is based in Cairo. Myself and my colleagues are based in Washington, D.C. and Chennai, but that doesn't stop us interacting on a daily basis, working together on various projects. And so I think because of that global network, you'll find that IFC is a very unique place to work, but it's also a very interesting place to work as well. So for me, I would definitely say it is the diversity aspect.
Yeah. So Nada, you know, I think I take the word Rennie uses as in unique. It is a unique environment and unique in every sense. And the diversity she refers to in terms of age, education, you name it, is very real, because in as much as she's the youngest in the team, I like to say I'm constantly learning from Rennie, you know, and that's part of the excitement of being in an organization like IFC. And you have to be open to learning. That's the other thing. When you talk about values, the IFC values, the teamwork, etc., you have to be open to learning. You have to be open to teaching as well. You know, as much as you learning and growing from others, you have to be prepared to share your experience. In a call with Nirupa and Shilpa, I think 2 weeks ago, they were sharing with me their experience, you know, in their market and how we can best tap into the talent. You know, that means on any given day, you're learning from everybody else. And the agility of the organization means that you push yourself, you know, even if you come in and you're somebody who's laid back, introvert, etc., you push out of your comfort zone because you want to do better. You want to succeed, because it's a group of very smart people who are coming from different places, you know, a village in Zimbabwe, but you know, you have somebody coming from a very rich background somewhere else, right? And it's that combination that makes it an exciting place to work in.
Thank you so much, Ellen, for sharing this with us, and thank you for everyone on the team. I personally feel very motivated by the opportunity to apply for IFC. I'm sure everyone on the call is also. Thank you so much for your time today and for sharing your insights with us, for everyone on the team. Also, there will be a recording for this session on Localized for everyone. They can access this, and you can also go to the channel for the IFC on Localized and keep posting questions for the coming 2 days. And now I hand it to Ronnie.
Fantastic. Thank you so much to the entire IFC team, and thank you, Nada, for this conversation. You can see from the chat that people are very engaged. I also see we have members of the Global Business School Network, of KAUST, of other institutions who will be communicating this to their membership network. So we're delighted that everyone is here. Please do visit the IFC channel. The team is here. As you can see, they've made a serious commitment to look for great talent on Localized, both over the next 2 days and over the course of the year. The one thing I would encourage, just as they had given advice, do some research before you ask them questions now you've had a chance to hear from them. Take 10 minutes, take half an hour, look at the IFC website, see what you can find. And then if you have specific questions, come to them with those thoughtful questions. It'll make a better impression. And for those of you who are thinking about the rest of the day, we have channels with employers taking questions for several hours now. We have a keynote with Rana El Kalioubi, also an AUC graduate who is an AI entrepreneur, and that will be taking place in just over an hour, being interviewed by a student about careers in AI. So we hope that you'll all join us, whether you're experts, recruiters, or seeking jobs. So thank you again so much to IFC, and thank you, Nada, and thank you all for being here.